Hello, everyone. It is the last Wednesday in July. Welcome to Dysphagia Duo, Cooking with Kat and Steph.
It's been a crazy day.
It's been a crazy day. I'm on espresso shot number 2. I'm pretty sure you already drank yours.
I've had to also.
Yeah. So, we are going to do some question and answer today. So please send us your questions. I apologize for the puppy barking. Send us your questions. We want to know what you want to know. We want to provide you with answers to your questions, or at least send you in the right direction. Today we are going to have a sandwich making day. And so we have some dark meat roasted chicken here. You can substitute canned tuna for this. You can do lunch meat. You can do just about anything.
Did you say tuna?
Salmon, tuna, salmon.
Okay. Yep.
Lunch meat of any kind.
Yep.
Theoretically, you could use tofu, it being National Tofu Day and all, but we didn't opt.
Yeah, you did tell me that. I was like,
we didn't really want to have a tofu specific day, but you can add tofu to just about anything you puree, and it's going to add protein and it's going to add nice texture, and it should not affect the flavor.
Texture and thickness. It helped to thicken just a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. That it did. Okay.
We did it.
Espresso in. Okay. So.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We're good. So I'm just gonna take this chicken and I'm just gonna run a knife through it and chop it up. You can do this in a food processor. You do not have to do this with a knife. That little chopper that I sometimes bring along, you can throw it in there. You can put it straight in your blender like this without chopping it. It's fine. Oops, sorry, kicked you.
I didn't know you kicked me.
You can.
Tofu rocks, says Susie.
Yes, we were just talking about you too. Hi, Susie.
Were your ears ringing?
They should have been.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yep. I was telling her about my new skincare routine that you gave me. So, all right. Like I said, just a rough chop here. We technically want this to be chopped to the either soft and bite-sized or the level 5 minced and moist, because we can do either one with this. So, mayo is our vehicle of choice for this. We're also going to do a little bit of avocado because it adds beautiful texture, flavor, fat, fiber, etc.
Yes.
And it'll be pretty.
And, well, we'll see what it looks like when we cut it open.
It might be
pretty. We may or may not be using an avocado.
We'll see what happens.
It may like ooze out. I don't know.
It doesn't feel like it's going to ooze out to me. Okay, so I'm going to take our chicken and put it in the bowl. Disclaimer, please wash your hands before you play with chicken, whether it's raw or cooked. And I did wash my hands before we got started. And I'm going to go now wash them again because I have chicken particles everywhere. So now we have our chicken in our bowl. Okay.
So while you're washing, we have 2 options for the bread for our sandwich, for our chicken salad sandwich today. So I have wheat toast or I have wheat bread. Does anyone have any requests? I might go with toast because I do like a toasted sandwich.
And you can get the flavor of the toast in that.
You can.
I think we should go with toast as well.
Okay. Or we can do both. It doesn't matter.
All right. So we have a little bit of diced red onion. Toast, Kara. Yes. See? We're all on the toast. We're on the toast bus.
We are. This is a good thing.
Okay. So onion, you can add red onion. You can add green onion. You can add caramelized onion to this. If you add caramelized, of course, it's going to be really, really soft and it's going to puree in nicely and it's going to add great flavor. This will too, though, if you prefer.
Yep.
Yeah. and I cut up a little bit too much, so I'm gonna try to be careful. This was just a minced red onion as well. Okay. And then I'm gonna take my other knife and we're gonna see what happens with this avocado. I can't get the little pit out. That's okay. It'll come out in a second. Or the end stem on the end. Words are hard. Words are hard.
We've had a crazy storm today.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of thrown us both off.
A little bit, yeah. Caramelized, yeah, Kara, yeah. Ooh, it's rough looking.
I told you.
It's pretty rough looking. I don't think we're gonna add it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get a little spoon and I'm gonna add that piece right there. We like to live on the edge.
Well, and maybe in there if you scrape off, I don't know.
That's about all we're gonna get out of that one. I'm gonna add a touch out of this one of the same
spot.
Same spot. Yep, that's it. Okay.
That avocado is probably a month old.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Okay, so I had freeze-dried wheat toast crumbs. So I took 2 tablespoons of the crumbs. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of water and hydrate them and let them sit for a little bit because they'll soften as they sit.
Do you use warm water or cold water?
Warm will hydrate faster.
Warm it is.
But it can be.
Okay. I also like pickles. Dill is my pickle of choice. However, if you prefer sweet pickles, bread and butter pickles, spicy pickles, totally up to you. And I'm just gonna dice these really small because we want our teeth to do a little bit of work for a minced and moist or a soft and bite-sized, but not a lot. And we want it to be easy enough for those of you that can tolerate the level 5 minced and moist. All right. Okay. So if you can tolerate it as well, you can take celery and put it in a food processor, or you can chop it really, really fine if you can tolerate it. If you can't tolerate celery, don't add it. For the people that can, it's a great addition.
Well, and so the last time we did chicken salad, which was a really long time ago, we did put celery in it.
We did.
And because of the fats that we had, I think that it helped it to...
It pureed super smooth. You couldn't even tell
really smooth.
There was celery in it, and it just added such wonderful flavor. Yeah, so... All right. So I was doing some research on the IDDSI levels today and just going through all 8 of them, 0 through 7, and making sure I in my head had my terminology correct. And so level 5, we want to use as a transitional food, a transitional level. Level 6 is transitional as well. So we would use these for anyone that is on pureed and is working on increasing the amount and level of texture that they can tolerate. We do this for our clients that are working on getting back to regular foods, and we usually have them try these foods at the very beginning of a meal.
Yes.
And then end with their pureed.
Right. That's one of the things that we've really kind of stressed with our clients is that we don't expect when we're working towards the next texture that you're going to transition in a day. It's going to be a couple of bites one day, and it's going to be a couple of bites per meal the next day, and it's just a gradual increase. It's
right.
We don't throw anybody in
full blast.
No.
Yeah. So Dijon mustard. Once again, choose your mustard. There are like 800 different kinds out there.
There are.
So choose your mustard. Mayo, mustard, avocado. You could just do avocado. If your avocado is beautiful, you could just do avocado in this without the mayo. Totally up to you. And the other thing...
They even have avocado mayo out there.
They do have avocado mayo out there. I have seen it. The other thing you can try is adding, if you tolerate dairy. Now, I know this is not completely dairy, but it does have dairy in it.
That one's not. Yeah, that's fake dairy.
Well, technically, the first two ingredients are skim milk and milk. So I think it's like 51% real. That's probably me.
Look, it's in my house.
Say.
I clearly have purchased it.
I have it in my house
Chicken
too.
spaghetti does not do well without Velveeta.
Yeah. So Velveeta is also a nice emulsifier also, just like mustard is, just like mayo is. The other thing you can try is cream cheese. If you, Kara, imitation dairy. Some people, my husband loves this stuff. He would eat it by the spoonful if I let him. I do not let him. I hope he's not watching right now.
Hi, Eric.
So if you want this flavor as well, the other thing you could do is you could mix a little bit of this. You could warm it up and mix it into your toast.
That's true.
And it would make a nice little cheese bread layer for your sandwich. All right, so
a cheese sandwich.
You could make a cheese sandwich out of it. All right, so I'm just gonna mix in. Oh, I guess I need to make sure my avocado is smushed properly with my little spoon here. Okay. So you could take all these ingredients and throw them into your food processor, all right? And then you don't have to do this by hand stuff that I'm doing. Totally up to you. If you don't want to take the time to chop all these things, you can just throw them into your food processor, hit the pulse button a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. And then that would be perfect.
And it'll be perfect. Okay, so this to me...
Do you have mayo in there?
Not yet.
Oh, I was going to say.
It's not moist enough yet. But it looks pretty good.
It does.
So,
may I?
Absolutely. I did use all the pickle because I like pickles.
It's pickly.
It's pickly. It's not overwhelming with onion though, so there's that. All right, so I'm gonna grab another spoon and add mayo. Okay. All right. So when you have dysphagia, it's important to know what level of diet you are on or that works best for you and is safe for you to eat. This is both liquids and solids. So we look at, Stephanie in particular, as a speech language pathologist, speech therapist, she looks at what the symptoms are. What happens when you take a sip? What happens with your musculature? What happens with your larynx? What happens? She can see so many details when she looks at a person when they eat. It's absolutely fascinating. And she can tell you all of these things. She can tell you what she hears. So she basically uses all of her senses to tell you what's going on here without seeing the picture. Now, if you have pictures, modified barium swallow, etc., that's just more information. Mm-hmm. It's pretty fascinating.
So, and just so that everybody understands, I'm pretty much separating speed from strength in swallow, because strength is necessary for your solids, but speed is necessary for your liquids. So I'm separating that out and seeing how we can combine the two or separate the two to get the proper nutrients into you.
Mm-hmm. And hydration. So the hydration,
nutrients and hydration.
Yep, plays a role. So that's something that we mean, but we don't always say, is another thing I'm realizing. So it's really important to keep you hydrated, and we want to make sure that we're giving you the right recommendations for that. So, all right, so now we have this beautiful, I would call this more soft and bite-sized, because this is not necessarily going to go through the tines of a fork, okay?
No, and it's a little bit crunchy too.
It is a little bit crunchy. So soft and bite-sized. I wouldn't say the pickles are hard, but they're not like melt in your mouth, right? So if I put this on the fork and I show it to you, it's not going to go through the tines of the fork, right? So if I put it on the plate, it's not really going to go well through the tines of the fork.
It does.
It does.
And if you did, wow, you got a funky fork.
I did get a funky fork.
Who knows what happened there?
It's got a tine that's all kind of waving.
It needs braces. So it does, and I think you could make this minced and moist by hand by doing that.
It's going to take a lot of energy, though.
It is going to take a lot of energy. But you could also put it in your blend jet or in your food processor and just pulse it just a little bit more.
All right, so now that I have it minced and moist, I need salt. So, if you have dysphagia, it's important to, and actually Kara, I was stalking your new page on Instagram. Love it, by the way. We're following. I saw your post about salt and it really got me thinking. There was a YouTube video that I watched recently about what happens when your sodium is low in the hospital and this whole process they go through. And the dietitian's like, just have them eat more salt. Like, you can put them on a fluid restriction, but have them eat more salt. So they go through this whole rigmarole, and at the end, the doctor's like, let's put them on a sodium chloride tablet. And the dietitian's like, that's what I said. So, sodium is really important for anyone that's not getting enough electrolytes in. And so we need to make sure that you are, and if you're not getting enough water in, you maybe don't need as much salt, but if you're sweating, if you're doing any kind of work, because a lot of people with dysphagia are still working. They're still trying to live busy lives. And it's really hard when you can't eat. So we need to look at making sure you're getting enough sodium, enough potassium, enough magnesium, etc. So, all right, now that we're salted, Stephanie's restaurant that her and her husband had, they used to add the seasoning Slap Your Mama to their chicken salad, and it was not too much, so it wasn't super spicy, but it was really good. So use your seasonings. Use the herbs and spices that are in your cupboard to flavor your food.
And that's a good Louisiana.
It is. All right.
Go Louisiana.
You want to throw some in your blender?
I do.
I ate off of that one. I know.
And I ate off the other one.
I know. It's not like we haven't done it before, but still, trying to be proper for all of you. All right, 2 shots in. I'm awake.
Good. I may need to put a little bit of water in there.
Yep. If you need extra liquid for something like this, that's fine. Add a little bit more. You can add chicken broth, you can add water. And it should loosen up the more you blend it. So anyone just joining, we're making chicken salad and we got it to our soft and bite size. This is where we started. If I put it on a plate and mash it through the tines of a fork, it's minced and moist. And we'll add to the blender with a little bit of liquid to make it pureed. Now, so pureed is level 4 of the IDBSI. If you need it level 3, which is liquidized, you have to add more liquid, okay? Oh, there it goes. Yeah. So important to note also, very important to note, level 4 pureed might have a little more texture than a level 3 liquidized. Level 3 liquidized is going to be runny and smooth. Level 4 pureed is going to have a little more texture, okay? All right. So that's our beautiful bread layer. If we were getting really fancy, we could melt some of our either Velveeta or our cream cheese and layer it on there. We could also, a couple weeks back, we did a lettuce puree. You could do a little bit of lettuce puree. You put your lettuce in with a little bit of water and a little bit of thickener, and then you could layer that on there. So it's got this beautiful layer. You could do it with tomato. You could take canned tomato or fresh tomato, puree it with a little bit of thickener, do a tomato layer on there.
I'm gonna go one more time.
One more time, sounds
to make it
great.
Smoother. For those that need smooth, if in doubt, blend again. It doesn't rhyme.
Blend again. Yep, it's one of our favorite things to say, blend again. The only things you shouldn't blend again, ultimately, are like pasta and mashed potatoes, because they get starchy and gluey and sticky and weird. I could come up with other descriptors if needed.
All right.
Okay, so we like to blend again for a lot of our foods to make sure that they are the correct thickness. Not quite?
It's chunky. See that chunk right there?
I think it was on the edge up here. If you wanna, here, let me get you the spatula.
You might need to eat that out then.
Yes, dear. I got it. Yep, there's a pickle chunk in there.
Okay. There's a few in there. I'm gonna blend again.
Blend again. I like it.
Ooh.
So if you add a little too much water to your chicken salad puree as well, you can add a pack of the thickener in there. Also, it's not gonna hurt it.
Or more of your solids. Just add more of whatever it is that you're blending. That
Yep.
can help too. I think that the onion blends it up easier because it's so full of water, but the pickle, the pickle's full of water.
The pickle's full of water too, yeah. I mean, who knows? The chicken blended super smooth though. From what I could feel, it was not the chicken that was, yeah, that looks better. All right, here we go. Beautiful. All right, everybody. So now we have a chicken salad sandwich. Let me see if I can tilt this just slightly so my camera can get it. So you have this nice, smooth chicken salad. You can do this with tuna salad. You can do it with pasta salad. You can do it with, you can use lunch meat like ham or turkey, roast beef in place of chicken thighs. We like chicken thighs because their darker meat has a little more fat and it blends a little bit smoother. Chicken breast is just a little drier and it's a little more gritty. Now with the mayo, it tends to blend pretty smooth because mayo has a lot of fat in it. So if you're making chicken salad or tuna salad or macaroni salad, the mayo makes all the difference. The other thing we did last time was we added hard-boiled eggs.
Oh, you're right. And I said right before we started, I said, I don't have eggs.
That's true.
I mean, I have eggs. I just don't have hard-boiled eggs.
It's super smooth.
It is super smooth, and there's a little bit of texture in the bread. But I could have, if I needed no texture for my bread, I could have blended the bread mixture first, layered that, and then blended. But there's really no texture in that chicken salad.
There's not. So using a good blender to blend up a how would I say that? Meat salad? Because that sounds weird. Chicken salad, tuna salad, egg salad. Using a blender to blend that up should get it pretty smooth because of the mayo. Now, if you add a hard-boiled egg, it'll get it even smoother too because the egg yolk and the egg white just adds extra protein as well.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of options here. And here's the thing about chicken salad, tuna salad. You can make it for your family and it's still easy enough to get it to the appropriate texture for you. So use your creativity, your imagination. You can make this taste really darn good. You could add a little, and if it sits overnight,
whatever flavors you like.
Yeah, and if you let it sit overnight, it'll just marinate all those herbs and spices in there. It's going to be even more flavorful tomorrow.
Everything is better the next day. Well, usually. I shouldn't say everything.
Almost everything.
Lots of things are. But so because I did take out a couple of the different blenders that we have, and we can cover that. So BlendJet is what we use. It can go anywhere with you. It charges on the go.
Mine doesn't work right now. Not sure why. We have not been able to troubleshoot the issue, so working on that. But
right, but we are looking at a different brand of similar. So we will get back with you guys on that when we have the research done.
Yes, we will.
But one of the other ones that I have, now I'm a fan of Ninja. I don't have a Vitamix.
I have a Vitamix.
She has the Vitamix. I do not have the Vitamix. But I am a fan of Ninja. I feel that Ninja can get things to the level that Vitamix does. It just needs either a little more liquid or a little more time.
Yep.
But it's capable. This is a smaller Ninja. I don't remember the whole name of it, but it just does. Nope, this is the wrong one. This one goes with it. But you have to plug it in, but it works very well in your kitchen. It's loud. We don't use it on air very much.
We try not to because it's really loud.
But it
works.
Does a beautiful job. And then we also have the bigger Ninja. This has the food processor. It's got the big blender bowl, and then it also has smoothie cups that come with it. It also does just as well, if not better, than this one. But it's too loud and bulky and has to be plugged in.
Yes.
But any of those, if you have them or can afford them, those are good options for you.
And if you're looking at having to either make your food chopped and bite-sized, soft and bite-sized, minced and moist, pureed or liquidized, you want to invest in a good blender. If you're thinking that it's going to be any length of time, more than like 2 or 3 weeks, you are going to want to invest in a good blender.
Right.
So I am seeing a lot of correlation with bariatric patients and dysphagia patients. The difference being they chose to be on a bariatric pureed soft diet, and dysphagia people do not. So I have been doing a lot of education with my bariatric patients lately about how to transition to a pureed diet, how to get the right nutrients in on a pureed diet, how to puree meat, because that's not even something that was ever within their purview before that. So I'm seeing a lot of overlap, a lot of similarities. Sure. And so I do tell some of my bariatric people, come check us out, because we're trying to teach you how to make food that's still normal in a way
and tastes good.
That still tastes good. Yeah. Because you can't just throw anything into a blender and expect it to taste good, as most of you know.
Right. One of the things that we have found is that you may need to add more seasoning after it's blended.
Yes.
But the layering effect helps a lot, that you don't have to, if you're adding everything in and just having a big slurry of whatever the options are, that may need more seasoning than if you do the layered effect. That helps.
And we've found in past experiments that when you layer, the layer that's on top is the layer that is the most flavorful.
Yep.
Because it hits your nose first. Yeah. So we are happy to answer any questions you have.
Yeah.
If you need, excuse me.
Yes,
if you
ask
need
questions.
recommendations.
We have time today.
I know. We only planned the one thing. Just life has been really crazy this week. And there are so many options out there. For those of you that love a good tomato sandwich, that's a possibility. You take your breadcrumbs, you rehydrate them, you put them in a little dish, you take your fresh tomato, you can scoop out the seeds, or you can leave them in. If you don't scoop out the seeds, and there's a lot of them, you may want to strain the juice out, and then thicken the juice so that it has a little bit more form to it. And then you'd put that over you could put a layer of mayo. Like I would take the mayo and put it in a little squeeze bag, and put a layer there, and then put your tomato over the top, and then you have a nice fresh tomato sandwich. What's the proper temp to roast a tomato? You mean like if you cut a tomato and toss in oil and put it in the oven to roast it to make soup or something? Is that what you're asking, Susie? I would say probably like 400 or 425 because I want a little bit of char on there.
Caramelization.
Elizabeth, how do you avoid a gritty blend for foods that oil dairy would... So if you have a good quality mayonnaise, you shouldn't have that oily aftertaste. Also, if you add too much, it will be oily as well.
Right, and depending on which fat you choose. So depending on what you're blending, it may taste better with either butter versus olive oil, or it may taste better with vegetable oil or mayo.
Or avocado oil, or you...
Right.
There's so many options out there. So the trick is to not add too much. We want enough that it helps get through that grit and makes it nice and smooth, because if you don't add enough fat, it's gonna be, we have found that it's gritty. Just because meats like chicken have that texture to them that comes across as grit when they're pureed. Yep. So if you're dairy free, then use a mayo that is, I mean, technically most mayos should be dairy free. I don't think most of them add dairy to them.
It's mostly just egg.
It should just be egg and oil. Should be. But there are other options out there. You could use an avocado instead of mayo, and that would help with all of the above problems as well.
Right.
Granted, like, we didn't use this much of that because it's...
And again, the quality blender, maybe the blender, it doesn't have enough strength to get through the dry pieces.
Yeah. And so, yeah, no problem. Elizabeth, we're always happy to answer questions. Please send them to us, text them to us, etc. If anyone watching has questions throughout the day, you can always shoot us a text, 574-475-7285. Susie says, how do you clean your blend jet? That's an easy one.
Well, yes, I would rather hire somebody to do it, but...
Cute. Hire you clean your blend jet. Yes. You want to pour that in here and we can give them
Yes, I will show you.
And the great thing about chicken salad is you don't have to reheat it to enjoy it tomorrow.
Right.
You just set it in your container, you cover it, or in a sealable Rubbermaid or Tupperware, etc., and you put it in your fridge, and then you have it.
Ziploc bag, if that's all you have.
Ziploc bags work too.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, so I've poured everything out of it. I am going to rinse it real well. Then I will fill it with water and soap and run soapy water through it. And that is all it takes. That is.
Here,
yeah,
I'll send you with your lid.
I'll need that.
Yeah, so Elizabeth, the other thing I want to add, if you're still watching, is that some of these things that you're experimenting with are trial and error. We have come to know that it takes extra fat when you're blending meats, purely out of trial and error, because the first time we tried to blend chicken, it was so gritty that even I was like, there's no way this will ever be smooth. And if you can handle texture like that, it's great. But if you can't, it's the end of the world because you can't eat it.
Right. So that's all I did. Soapy water, and it will clean it. So the strength of this is it's fast enough that it heats enough and goes fast enough that it cleans itself. So that's how we clean it.
And the blender bottom comes off. And so you'll have 3 pieces. You can just set them aside to dry. And theoretically, the USB port on the front is water resistant. You don't want to dunk it in water, but if you get a little bit of water on there, you just have to make sure it's completely dry before you plug it in to charge it. Yeah. And there it is. So it just takes a rinse and then
And
voila.
then take it apart to dry.
Yep.
What were we talking about? Because I had something to say and now I forgot.
I was talking about how it takes trial and error to get to the point where we've gotten with learning about pureeing meats.
Yes. So we even were able to get a hamburger from Applebee's.
Chili's.
From Chili's, as smooth by adding liquid butter.
Yeah.
It was, and it had everything in it. It had the onions, it had the lettuce, it had the tomato, it had the bread, half the bread.
Half the bread, yeah. So, Elizabeth, the other thing that we have done is we only use the dark meat. We don't use the chicken breast for pureeing because we just can't get it smooth enough. It's too dry. Chicken breast just by its nature is drier than chicken thighs are.
Unless you are able to cook chicken breast to the point where it holds enough moisture in it.
Yeah.
Apparently we're not able to do that, but some people might.
I can. It just takes a lot of attention to detail. So the first thing you can try is brining your chicken. If you're just cooking chicken breast and that's what you prefer, I would brine it. I have a really fabulous brine recipe. I make a gallon at a time. So it's a gallon of water. It's like 2/3 of a cup of salt and somewhere around half a cup of sugar. And then I have like lemons, garlic, bring the water to a boil to dissolve the sugar and the salt. And then I add like peppercorns, bay leaf, thyme, rosemary, and I let it cool. And then I soak my chicken breast in it for minimum like 4 hours. Let them dry. Cook the chicken breast to 165 degrees, no higher. If you cook them higher, it's going to be way too dry, but you have to cook it to 165 degrees for food safety reasons. And then you let it cool, and then you can chop it into smaller pieces and it will puree smoother. But it's a lot of work.
And I don't know how many people know, I know Costco had them about a year back, but a sous vide machine, if you sous vide to 165, it wouldn't go over.
Right.
So, but I don't know how many people would use something like that. It's a lot of work. We do that when we make certain things.
Yeah. I don't have one. I've always wanted one, but we've never had a reason to get one because we wouldn't use it often enough. I think I bought my brother one for his birthday one year. Because it's one of those things you buy for other people as a specialty thing, but you don't get for yourself because you're not gonna use it often enough. I know you guys do some specialty things. So sous vide, for anyone that doesn't know, you take your meat or veggie or
eggs or whatever
food of choice. You put it in a vacuum seal bag with seasonings, herbs, spices, lemons, etc., whatever you want, and you vacuum seal it. And then you would put it in this tub of water that is temperature controlled, and it's like a little wand. So you have a tub of water, you put your baggie in the tub of water, you set your little sous vide wand in the side, and you program it to go to a certain temperature, and it circulates the water and keeps your water at a very specific temperature so your food gets to a specific temp without going over. It's very, very intense and cool, and when I worked in restaurants, we did it for steaks to get them to like a perfect like 125 degrees, and then we just sear them so they have nice grill marks, and then you'd sell it. It's really slick. I want to say the cheapest one I saw was like $129, but that did not include the tub. That was just the wand. They're on Amazon, that you can buy them all over the place.
So the one at Costco had the tub.
Yeah.
Which
and it
had
makes sense.
the little, we got one for Hannah.
So, yeah, I like it. So if you are really into making sure that you can get your food, it's worth investing in some of these tools because they're very, very helpful in getting your food to the right temperature, the right texture, the right moisture content, etc. So chicken is a tough one. Ground beef can be a tough one if it's not good quality ground beef. If you get poor quality ground beef, it's going to have a lot of grit and gristle in it, and that doesn't puree no matter what you pureed in, including a Vitamix. So having the right quality food to start with and having the right equipment will make this process 100% easier. The Chick-fil-A nuggets puree really well. I love that. Thanks, Kara. That's good to know.
That is excellent.
And if you add the sauce, I'm sure it's delightful, because that Chick-fil-A sauce is pretty tasty. Cool. All right. Does anyone have any other questions before we call it a night?
Yeah, sorry. Even the dogs are having a rough day.
They are having a rough day, I know. Yes, it is. Yeah. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and we are so happy that you're here. Thank you for asking questions. If you have a specific recipe you want us to try, if you have a specific question, if you are just having thoughts that you don't know how to finish, let us know. We love stuff like that. So
and if this is all new to you, reach out to us.
Absolutely.
We're happy to help you through it.
It's what we do.
And it's overwhelming in the beginning. So that's why we're doing these things, so that we can take that overwhelmingness away from you.
Yeah. And we do things like this because a lot of people don't want to live on shakes forever. And they will. As much as they don't want to, because they don't know what else to do. So we want to create a safe space for you to ask questions. And can I hire you to cook for me? Hey, Susie, when I was visiting you, I cooked for you a lot.
So the other thing too is that I, as a clinician, really strive to get people away from that single texture, because the longer you don't eat or manage other textures, you're decreasing or making it more difficult to add in texture.
Right.
So my goal is to help you guys start adding texture as quickly as you can. Sometimes it's not quick.
In a safe way.
In a safe way.
Yeah.
And a non-anxiety driven way.
Yeah. Because that anxiety piece is huge for everyone. Kara says gnocchi. Ooh, that's going to be, that's a challenge. Because gnocchi is made of potato, which is very starchy and can turn to glue really fast. So we might have to experiment.
Okay. Deal.
Okay. All right. That's all we have for you today. Enjoy your chicken salad. We are.
Have a great night, everyone.
See you next week. Oh, before we sign off, I'm so sorry. We are going to be postponing August 9th. So we will not be live August 9th because I will be on a road trip to North Dakota for a family matter.
But we are here next week.
But we're here next week, yes.
Not the following.
Yes. So next week we'll be here. The following week we're taking a break so that I can go handle my family stuff. And then we'll be back the next week. So we'll see you all later. Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. Be safe.